Hello, welcome to Gimpy's History Corner, called Gimpy by my grandsons, Alice and Archie, who found this statue in New York City of a dog dressed in human clothes taking pictures with a camera. Thought it was pretty cool, so we got these pictures of him. I don't know the story behind this statue, but it's pretty cool. Okay, this is video number 82, and it's about a story from this book. I've shown you this before, and it's the letter from the Birmingham jail. And the author is a very famous American by the name of Martin Luther King Jr. So, why was Martin Luther King in the Birmingham jail? Well, you can imagine. And it is true that he was arrested for participating in nonviolent demonstrations against segregation. And he received this letter from 8 white clergymen who generally supported his cause, but felt that he had gone too far by getting arrested. They had criticized his actions as unwise and untimely. And he wrote this letter back to them to justify his direct action and challenge the idea that African Americans should wait for justice. That was their point of their letter to him. Be patient, don't get arrested. Protest, but don't get arrested. Don't get the status quo upset and end up in jail. They thought that was a bad idea on his part. But as you know, previous video, Henry David Thoreau got arrested. That's what he wanted to happen. Got more attention. Civil disobedience. Okay, the tone of the letter is firm but respectful, blending moral urgency with intellectual rigor. What were King's reasons for direct action? Negotiations have failed. Direct action is necessary to create tension and force change. Justice too long delayed is justice denied, was his quote. His critique of the white moderates, which were these 8 white pastors, they prefer order over justice. He claimed that lukewarm support from them is more damaging than opposition. I'm not sure I agree with that, but that's what he said. Civil disobedience, again, is brought up. He said he learned it from St. Augustine, who said an unjust law is no law at all. St. Augustine. He also learned it from Thoreau. Distinguishing between unjust laws and just laws using moral and democratic principles. So he thought the laws in segregation was unjust, just like Thoreau thought supporting a government who exercised the Mexican War was unjust. Go to jail to protest that. Civil disobedience. Religious and historical justification. He cited biblical figures, Socrates, the American founders, and the noble tradition of American rebellion. He said blacks have waited too long. This was 1963. And they have gone through slavery, Jim Crow laws in the South, and that's just too long. Hundreds of years. What was the legacy of this letter from Birmingham jail? It became the foundational text for the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Had moral clarity and rhetorical power. Now, how did Martin Luther King become the leader of the civil rights movement? Well, he was born on January 15th, 1929 in Atlanta. He came from a long line of Baptist preachers. His grandfather and father were both pastors of the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, very famous church, Baptist church. He went to Morehouse College at the age of 15. Wow. Went to the Crozer Theological Seminary in Pennsylvania, and then got his PhD in systemic theology from Boston University. So Morehouse College is in Atlanta, I believe, is in the South. And his next two colleges were in the North, Pennsylvania and Boston. 1955 rolled around. Rosa Parks was arrested in Montgomery, Alabama for riding in the front of the bus. Remember, blacks were only allowed to sit in the back of the bus. She refused to move. And they had a Montgomery Improvement Association, which was a African American group, and they chose Martin Luther King, the 26-year-old Martin Luther King, as their leader. And he established a 381-day boycott of the Montgomery, Alabama bus line by African Americans. So they quit riding the bus, figured out ways to get to work without riding the bus, helped each other for over a year, 381 days. And Rosa Parks' case went to the Supreme Court and she won. So that's how Martin Luther King, at age 26, became the leader of the civil rights movement, using methods of civil disobedience, not violent, non-violent civil disobedience, boycotts, protest marches, things like that. Of course, things turned for the worse for Martin when he turned against the Vietnam War later on, and through conspiracy of the government and members of other black groups, he was assassinated. Terrible. I remember when that happened in Memphis, Tennessee, at a hotel. So, young man, went to college early, did a great job, got his PhD, was recognized early as a leader, put in charge after Rosa Parks' arrest, did great things, and ended up threatening the government so much with his protest against the Vietnam War, and his work with poor people, that the government conspired to have him killed. Martin Luther King. Letter from the Birmingham jail. Famous document. Okay. Hey, you guys have a great day. This is Tuesday. I'm going to hit the road and do some traveling today. Wish me safe travels. I'll see you next time. Thank you.